Hi. Okay. So the day before yesterday, we did back to basics. And yesterday we did finding ways to accomplish. And today I don't know what we're doing yet today. We're going to find out. We're going to do it together. Oh, finding a comfortable posture, assuming a posture in a place where we can focus and concentrate on what we want to accomplish today, which is continue our meditative mindfulness experience. Allowing ourselves to be calm, to be pensive, to be awake, to be physically alert, to be receptive to what we're hearing, what we're feeling. Yesterday and the day before, we studied within the interior of ourselves the processes of respiration and circulation, the movement and activity of our lungs and our heart. And what the result of that activity, that muscular activity, was. And it's the generation of heat, thermal energy. And taking all that we've accomplished in these last two sessions, and if you'd like, you could stop here at this 1.5 minute mark and come back to those two sessions and maybe listen to them again. And then come back to this spot and continue on. So, with all the ideas and concepts that we've discussed yesterday and the day before, take a moment and just reiterate to you, repeat to you. They're very important concepts to consider and to evaluate in yourself, on your own terms, in one's own depth of understanding. Remember that we are building our own foundations. We need to have a sense of clarity in ways that we can utilize our mind to further our effort, make our goals more possible by creating an environment in ourselves that is positive, that we enjoy what we're doing. It's not a chore, it's something that we look forward for doing. This is why I'm suggesting to go back and pay attention to not only the basics of being calm and being aware of your physiology, but in the concepts concerning things like using self-affirmations, being understanding of our multitasking nature, creating an environment for success, i.e., one's posture and environment, and what we are thinking, being positive about one's journey, one's adventure. So here we are. I've paid homage to those last two podcasts. And let's move on from where we left off. We're comfortable, we're warm, we're feeling our breath, we're feeling our bodies. Let's pay attention also to our pulse, finding our pulse, feeling our heart squeezing 60 times a minute, around 90,000 times a day. 15 to 20,000 times breathing, and around 90,000 times pulsing. It's a lot. So we take it for granted, and it's okay that we do, but it's a great tool to utilize when we want to keep flowing in our realizations. And of course, this is what we're doing and wanting to do, is to be aware more of the time of the possibilities and the realizations that we can have in our own minds, and that we have an opportunity to share with the world through the way that we interact with the world. All of it's important. Aware of our breath, relaxed and calm. Aware of our pulse, attentive, receptive. What is it about our bodies that we haven't discussed yet? We've talked about the heat emanating through our skin, keeping our bodies comfy. What else are you feeling if you have your hands joined together? And if you don't, put your hands together. You can put your palms to palms and thumbs to thumbs and fingers to fingers and just feel inside. You feel the texture of your skin. Maybe there's a little bit of moisture there. You feel the pulse. Underneath all of this is an inherent energy, a vibration. And this is where we want to really begin. We feel this shimmering inside of ourselves. And this is our life. This is our life force. This is our life energy that is emanating from ourselves. We have, science says, approximately 37 trillion cells. When we're born, we have 1 trillion cells after 9 months of gestation. When we are conceived, there's 1 cell, 1 egg, sperm gets inside of it, 1 cell. Then it becomes 2, then it becomes 4, then it becomes 8, then it becomes 16, then it becomes 32. By the time you are born, 9 months later, it's 1 trillion cells. Miracle? Awe-inspiring? Yeah, I would say so. Thinking about what we're doing, thinking about whom we are. These are the things that are important. So I'm asking you, I'm going to give a little dialogue here again, but I'm asking you to be mindful about your breath, being slow and long and purposeful, and your pulse, being aware of it. If you need to, place 2 fingers from one hand. Well, you can't do everything. You have 4 hands? No. But just for a moment, place 2 fingers of one hand underneath the thumb, on the other hand, of course, on the wrist crease, and press down gently, and you can feel your radial artery pumping away. Okay? Now, oftentimes, if you are a beginner and haven't become more familiar with your body, this is a good way to remember the rhythm, the cadence of your own life force. Anyway, let's put our hands back together again, or whatever you like. It doesn't matter. There's a lot going on, and it's humbling to think that all of this activity is going on, and you and I barely conceive of the majesty and the complexity of all the different facets of our own being, of whom we are, our physiology. Because we're just highlighting several different processes and characteristics of our being, but it is so much more. It's literally beyond our comprehension. Why is this valuable for us to be discussing? Why is this valuable for us to be feeling within the architecture of our own being, our bones, our sinews, our muscles, our organs? Why? Why are we discussing this in our pursuit of meditation and mindfulness? Because this is our foundation. This is whom we are. When you think of yourself, this is your background. This is your basis. Let's develop this. First of all, we need something that we have in common. Every Homo sapien has the same basic characteristics. So right away, we can all be on the same page. So that's a big positive. It's not a religious or a cultural kind of a thing. This is beneath civilization, societies, and things like that. This is just basic human physiology. That being said, it gives us an advantage, 1, to communicate, and 2, to utilize our own physiology that we share as a tool. These common characteristics are literally our tools for our own self-realizations. Any time of the day, we can remember that we're breathing, that our heart's pulsing, that our body is shimmering, and begin a process of remembering whom we are. And who are we? All of these things that have been said haven't really gotten to the heart of the matter. And that's evolution. 14 plus billion years of evolution. The Big Bang. And through time and space, this energy of creation has flowed, expanded until today. And we look at ourselves and we look at our world and we look at our solar system, galaxy, and our universe, and we go, wow. We open our eyes to the stars above and we go, unbelievable. If we do this, there's an opportunity to create a feeling of awe in oneself, a sense of reverence, a sense of amazement or astonishment at what is encompassed by all of these things that we're discussing. This is self-realization. This is illuminating one's being. This is a revelation to oneself. If we shorten the time frame from 14 plus billion years and reduce it to 3.5 billion years, we can consider the dawning of life on a planet that's approximately 4.5 billion years old. The sun and the planets evolved at about the same time. So it started 4.5 billion years ago, and it settled down enough, the temperature was reduced enough, different elements and compounds were created so that the possibilities of life were such that life began 3.5 billion years ago. So we have 3.5 billion years of evolution of life upon this world from that moment to now. Again, each one of these characteristics of life of us is an opportunity to be in awe, to have a sense of reverence, to have a sense of humility, to have a sense of astonishment or amazement at what all of this means. Evolution. This is, people speak about samadhi. This is being in samadhi. When you can have these different thoughts in one's mind, encompassing everything about what you're thinking in a moment, how much better does it get to be awestruck in recognition of oneself? Yes, this is what it is. It's not that someone's coming by to pick you up in a limousine and take you out for wining and a dining at a fancy restaurant. It's self-realization is samadhi. And it comes from within oneself, in one's beliefs, in one's recognition of whom oneself is, and the possibility of utilizing the tools that we have been given by creation, our breath, our flowing breathing, our flowing pulse, our shimmering majesty, our flowing being alive in time and space. Tools to help us if we acknowledge them, understand them, even conceive of them in the first place. This is what the meditation and mindfulness can lead one to. So what we're talking about is perspective. One's perspective. What are you seeing and thinking about? When we look at someone to see their birth, to see them living, to see their death, to see the world around us as it was 100 years ago or 100 years from now, to broaden one's perspective and have a better sense of what it means to be alive, to allow, to accept that everyone is a bundle of miracles. Actually, all of life and all of creation. And in one's widening perspective, because it has to be inclusive of the whole universe, of the initial energy of creation, nothing has been added. Everything is the same primordial energy. When you hear someone say the oneness, I want to feel the oneness of the universe. Just feel yourself. Allow it to expand. Everything is related. Everything is made of the same thing, folded and tossed and turned and twisted and whatever combinations of events needed to occur to make whatever it is one is thinking about, it is still, science has found, to be made of the same thing. Who are you? Who am I? We are bundles of miracles formed in an evolutionary miracle that took billions of years. And in our realization, we find ourselves in awe, humbled, not only by the immensity of creation, but that this has all occurred, and we're part of it. And thankful that we have an opportunity to be a part of all of this. This is meditation and mindfulness, planting seeds to understand better what's going on in our universe. These 3 podcasts are inclusive of what we're talking about. Namaste.